So, you know, I insist on it being correct when it leaves.
Right. Well, that's D&D Cycles, folks. Dink, McClendon, and son Rob. We're going to see Rob.
The old grumpy guy.
The old grumpy guy. I haven't seen you be grumpy. You did say it was a little hot outside, but that's not being grumpy.
Get grumpier the hotter it gets.
And just, if you're hungry, then that adds another level, doesn't it? Well, thanks so much for taking care of my bike. It's a wonderful time to meet you.
You want to take a peek?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Leave one off, Mike, for a second.
All right, so here we are. This is actually my Tiger, ladies and gentlemen. So Dink's going to show us what's going on with the valves.
When we check the valves and they need changing, they're not in spec, you change this shim here, which is only 7.5 millimeters. These 7.5 or 9.5? 7.5, yep. But anyway, they go under this removable bucket, and they come in different thicknesses. That's how you do the valve.
What's the bucket now? Because I've heard this shim and bucket system, and I didn't understand.
Grab a bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, here's how you measure.
Of a millimeter.
That's 2.42 millimeters. That's the thickness.
Pretty precise.
The cam hammers this bucket down, so you shim it underneath it. So.
Yeah, and these generally come, now this is a 242, 2.42, which means 2.42 millimeters.
Yeah.
Generally, these come in like 240, 245, 250. 2.5, you know.
Okay.
That's generally
okay.
But sometimes there's a half size, which is that one.
Wow.
So we use, if we need a half size to get it where we want it, we do.
Yeah.
Now the other nice thing, if you want to take a look on this side, Triumph. If you look, now this is what gearheads will know. They come with slotted cam sprockets. The reason for that is once we put the cams back in and put the cam chain back on. We have a tool that degrees the cam, which means it's right in spec every time because you can move it in the slots. Once you get it in spec, you torque the bolts down and you re-degreed the cam every time you do a valve job.
Wow. So I know they changed the Tiger in 2010. Is the engine been the same though?
No, there's quite a bit of difference. Like the 1050 Tiger had a completely different gearbox. There's quite a few changes. Triumph, pretty much all of them have the cam chain on one side. Clutch is pretty much standard, but there's differences depending on the year and the model, engine size.
Yeah. Like, is this the same engine that's in the new Triumph Tiger? The 900? No, different.
It's similar. It's got 3 cylinders and 2 cams.
Yeah, that's about the only similarity, huh? Wow. Well, this is great. So now one thing I've noticed, I'll have to admit, when I bought this thing, I've had about 6 weeks and just started to get into this adventure riding stuff, you know. And if I goose that throttle to lift that front end and get up over a log, it's not immediately there. You know, my friend's got a KTM 890. You move his a fraction of a millimeter and it goes. Is that just the way this is, or is this valve adjustment y'all are doing going to improve some of that?
I don't know how far they were off, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Well, they're tight or loose. They were tight. It really depends. If they're too tight, it's a problem. If they're just tight below the spec, it probably, you won't notice it at all.
I gotcha.
But tight is worse than loose. People go through life thinking if the valves are out of spec, they hear ticking noise. That's not true. These, since it's a shim bucket arrangement, as the cam everything wears, they tighten, they don't loosen, so you're not going to hear ticking noises unless one came out of the factory, generally too loose, which doesn't happen. But these get quiet, and the tighter they get, which once we do a valve adjustment, like your 12K, the next one at 24, we may not need to adjust any. Once they're settled in, they're usually okay.
These aren't bad. They're not very bad. You're at pretty much 0.15 across the board. Spec is 0.2. You're not going to notice that. But we are buying you more time. If they keep tightening, we're buying you more time for your next service.
Like I said, next time we may just have to check it and that'll be fine.
Well, Well, that is awesome. I'm so glad I brought this girl to y'all. You know, there's a shop in Alabama, Triumph shop, but I just don't know anything about them. And
you'll notice the timing chain stretch when we reset the cams. You'll notice that more than you'll notice the valve spec.
Really?
Yes. So as the cams get, you know, timing chain stretches, it allows them to, you know, retard a little bit. You'll notice that way more than you will 0.5 of a.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually, as it stretches, your tensioner's here and it tightens, so it'll rotate both cams backwards a little bit, which retards the timing.
Huh.
So once we redegree them, they're going to be back to factory spec.
Okay.
I mean, you may or may not notice. It depends on how much it was wear, but only 12K, it may not be a whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually the Crookston Raceway.
And so, to retension that cam, is the tensioner automatically adjust for that cam chain, or do you? Is that something you'll adjust when you're
automatic?
Automatic.
We'll reset the cam sprockets, which are variable. High performance guys know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You set your cam timing, so we'll do that. But the chain is tensioned by a spring mechanism, so it's always under tension.
This is it right here. This, as it extends, this wire clip keeps it from returning back.
Oh, okay.
And now we have to reset it and push it all the way back, put this back in.
Gotcha.
But it automatically over time, it'll click a groove at a time, and you know, once you're out of adjustment, there's new cam chain time. Which the other advantage to being on the side of the engine, the old 4 cylinders with a cam chain in the middle, you were tearing the engine completely down to change the cam chain. This one, take the valve cover off, cams, pop it right out, change it. So that's a really good setup.
Yeah. Well, that's good. People seem to like this engine. It's good for a lot of miles, I guess. Huh?
Oh yeah.
They're hardware, and we might not make an adjustment in that service.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you might not need.
You know what? You still have to break it all down to check them, I guess, or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
But don't be surprised if I make one adjustment.
Right.
Next time.
Right.
This is the initial that's going to be expected.
Well, I'll probably be back in about a year. That's what it'll take me to put 12,000 miles on. So.
You doing Trans-American Trail?
One of these days, I'm doing
Adventure Trail.
Yeah, I'm doing a thing this year in October called LWRA, which stands for Long Way Round Alabama. Y'all know the Long Way Round movies? I'm doing that in Alabama. A friend of mine and I were taking 2 weeks. We're going to all of the national forest in Alabama, camp, and most of that is going to be dirt roads. We were going to do the state parks, but it's all paved roads, so we're going to do dirt roads.
Florida Adventure Trail in September on a DT250.
Oh, are you really?
Have to bring a lot of gas.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that came out. Triumph, we did a dealer meeting in Arizona, in Phoenix, and we rode the road version, Tiger, and we rode off-road. And I grew up here in Florida, and we have sand.
Yeah.
I mean, sand.
Yeah.
Like being on the beach all the time. So we're out in Arizona, and they go, okay, we're going to be going through some sand. And Arizona sand is like, this is just gravel. This is not sand. We had guys wadding themselves up right and left who, of course, they were mainly street riders. And I got dirt experience.
Right.
And so a friend of mine from Joe, from Joe's Cycles shop up in Detroit, somewhere up there, I don't remember where. But anyway, we're both old flat track guys, so we're having a good old time. We'd hit these washes, and then here comes splat. It was hilarious. I said, "You guys haven't seen sand. You need to come to Florida."
Yeah.
But it was a blast.
That's cool.
Had a good time.
So, Mike, the Florida, what do you call the Florida Atlantic Trail? Is that what you call it?
Adventure Trail.
Florida Adventure Trail. And how far is that?
Atmore to Jacksonville, down south of Tallahassee.
Okay.
Good.
Be doing on
new.
two.
It's relatively new.
Is it?
Yeah, they kind of just came up with it. I went to the beginning of the trail in Atmore this weekend.
And when are you doing it? September. Still be a little hot.
Not as hot as right now.
That's true. Well, that sounds fun. At 250, you got
1972.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
6 boat.
Probably about a 2.5 gallon gas tank on that. That's why you got to carry.
Maybe 2.
If that.
You're gonna have a backpack with gas. Just
That's
thermos
right.
bottle.
Well, man, this is awesome. I appreciate y'all so much. Mike won't go on camera, but let me tell y'all, he knows what he's doing. I tell that. So, good deal. Good deal. All right, oh, no, what were you telling me about this Thruxton, Robert?
One race bike. This was actually, we had 2 back then. We sold them. This was one of our old race bikes, which now belongs to a guy in Mobile.
Oh, okay.
But we're freshening it up and getting ready for, he hadn't raced it in a couple of years. He's going to start again, so we're getting it all prepped for him.
Okay, cool. Very good.
Also doing the cams.
Yeah.
Carburetors were dirty.
Yeah.
We should have it ready next week sometime.
Okay. Excellent, guys. Thanks.
Sure thing.